All right, everybody, welcome back. So, after our intermission there, hopefully everyone got some water, something to eat. We're gonna be now going for C3 versus GNC. So behind the scenes, we've already been getting ready. So hopefully, we're gonna have those band picks come up soon here. Hope everyone's break was good. Just we still have a little bit of time before we start. So if you haven't already, get some water, get something to eat.
Sure you're taking care.
Definitely interesting teams we got here. I'm excited to see what C3 and GNC bring to the table.
I totally agree. You know, I have seen C3 in the past, but I don't think I've ever seen GNC before. Um,
I've seen a bit of GNC, but I I I don't think I've seen that much of C3.
no, C3 in the past, I've seen how they played. I've commentated for them before. You know, they're very, very well put together. I believe we have
Definitely.
seen them hit Koa stage in the past as well.
Yes, they have
Um,
actually.
mhm. So it's really nice being able to see some old faces here.
Definitely. Definitely excited to see GNC as well. I think we've also seen them at least near Koa. I believe we've seen them. I believe almost reach Koa actually.
Mhm.
So it looks like first off we're gonna be having GNC is going to be playing Survivor, and we have C3 hunting.
Mhm. We have a lot of really, really strong survivors here in our playing field. It looks like we are getting our first bands in. I believe that is female dancer and priestess.
Ooh, interesting. It depends on what map they're on, but they are very priestess and dancer will be very strong. Definitely priestess being able to offer huge support for their team. Honestly, it's honestly very standard bands. We've seen dance how dancer performs in the past.
Mhm.
And definitely, we haven't seen Priestess yet, but she's just such a strong survivor that it's very hard to tell. It
All
looks
right,
like
we
we
are
have
going to
Ever
see
Sleeping.
Ever Sleeping. Like we were saying earlier, very versatile bands here on Ever Sleeping Town. You don't really want to deal with the we don't really want to deal with the priestess going from one end to the other so fast, and then obviously dealing with that female dancer with her speed boost when she falls from high places, and of course her slow boxes make
Definitely,
for a tricky set.
definitely. It looks like our first survivor picks are coming in at coordinator and gardener. Definitely interesting picks for Ever Sleeping. We're gonna get to see that gardener come out again. And coordinator, as we saw before on in the last game, coordinator was definitely able to really pull her weight and just like being there, just having that fear of the flare gun
Mhm.
available to the hunter.
And you have a really, really great setup here already with the gardener being able to really versatilely use each other's items here if one of them does prematurely get sent back to the manor or need to pick up a whole separate item. Um,
Definitely.
you can
Oh, and
really
it looks
aid
like we're
each
seeing
other.
cheerleader come out. First cheerleader of the tournament. That's exciting to see. As we know, cheerleader has
Mhm.
crazy support for her team.
Yes, for sure. I love watching Lily gameplay. Mostly not even when she's kiting on her own. She is a great kiter, but her whole entire kit is based on the support of her other team.
Absolutely. Definitely. And we do have a first officer band, a very strong rescuer band. Obviously makes sense for that hunter. We don't want to see that first officer because he just has such a good he has such a good rescue potential for that team. Looks like for our final band, we are seeing Mercenary come in. Again, very strong rescuer. We want to. I think most of this is just us trying to prevent those easy rescues. As at least want to guarantee those. Want to guarantee those hits after the chair. Oh, and interestingly enough, for our last survivor, we have Weeping Clown coming out. Weeping Clown is definitely a very strong pick on a map like Eversleeping with how open it is.
Mhm.
Less of a chance
You
for his rockets to crash into things.
Not very often that you get to see a baby clown in action. But I will say we have a lot more open opportunity to see some interesting plays coming from GNC here, especially as a team that I don't think we've really seen on the playing field as much as we have seen C3 here.
Definitely.
So new surprises around every corner, for sure.
Definitely bringing up the new team comps. GNC definitely has something planned here. Cheerleader will that Weeping Clown is going to be able to pull a ton of distance. He's able to stun, basically act as both a harasser and a kiter for that team. That
Hmm.
Cheerleader being able to reset his cooldown and all that. Definitely a very kiting based team. You want to be able to kite as long as you can.
Yeah, we're just waiting for our bills to come through, but I'm fully anticipating. I believe that our rescuer, if it's not the coordinator, will be the weeping clown on this team.
Definitely. That stun being having such a huge range, and also being able, even if it doesn't stun, it slows the hunter down. And Weeping Clown being able
Hmm.
to take survivors on his rocket, it's very very team focused, and you just know that with this team comp, they trust each other very much.
Very much so. Um, for a hunter, you're gonna end up seeing maybe an excitement first trait, but I'm not too keen on seeing that. As we were talking about earlier, I prefer Blink more so over anything, just because you can use the walls to your advantage very much with both the Weeping Clown and the coordinator.
Definitely. They're just going to be able to pull so much distance here. We might see an opera singer, but then again, this this team is just based on pulling distance and being able to kite. And honestly, there's on Eversleeping, you're able to rotate to good kiting areas so easily, especially with that cheerleader being able to, cause
Mhm.
even if that coordinator uses her gun, she'll still be with that cheerleader. She'll still be able to have a good kite
For
and being
sure.
able to look through chests.
My anticipation was seeing how C3 is playing. We do have a lot of strong contenders for either a Violetta, a Bane, or an Anne here.
Definitely,
We have been seeing that Gamekeeper make his way up into the meta here a lot as of late. Being able to really keep up with the opera singer in
definitely,
anticipation of if she gets banned or not.
definitely. We're definitely gonna have to be seeing. We're definitely gonna be assuming that it's very. I agree with the Anne pick, honestly. And Anne would be very strong against this team comp, being able to stun a lot of the characters and countering
Mhm.
what kiting they do have. So hopefully, what for our hunter pick, we see some unique pick.
Mhm. Even still anticipating a lot of um a lot of diverse choices here. I mean, we're already seeing from this team composition that we are not afraid to pick outside of the meta. Um,
Mm.
and it looks like we are going to be seeing a gamekeeper as our hunter for
First
this first
gamekeeper
round.
today. First gamekeeper today coming out. Very interesting. Especially a good counter to this team comp being able to take that Weeping Clown off his rocket.
All right, it does look like we are going to be seeing our builds come in. Everyone except for the cheerleader are running 3. Our cheerleader is actually running 9-12. Really anticipating that cheerleader support and um her kiting here for the most part. Um,
Definitely.
we are going to be seeing the gardener and the coordinator with 39, and our waving clown does have 36, as I had anticipated. You know, nowadays it's very, very rare to see a coordinator run anything that isn't either 3-9 or 6-9. You don't really
Definitely.
see them bring 6 as much as they used to.
Definitely. I think with the sheer amount of kiting we do have, I believe that Tide has definitely lost its place in some comps, especially this one, where you have more of kiting characters. But I do imagine that a lot of um a lot of kiting abilities definitely come out, especially with this Bane here, because Tide doesn't really counter this like Bane in general, honestly.
Kite Turner is one of those things that it's a little difficult depending on who the hunter is. It works perfectly if you're going to waste time, but after a certain point, how viable is it to your team composition if you're going for survivability rate?
Definitely, because even if you were to pull distance away, the game I've seen this plenty of times. People on last effort, if they're trying to pull away from ciphers, the gamekeeper just hooks them back.
Hmm.
And especially with that slow, it's just more time that they have to waste.
For sure.
Definitely with his the way his traps work, it can work super uniquely with how with how the with how GNC will have to play.
Hmm. You're definitely going to see a lot of interesting plays coming off of this team. I'm really betting on the cheerleader first kite here. If not cheerleader, then it definitely would be Miss Emma Woods here. Um,
Definitely,
you really want your stronger kiters in the playing field first before you see your kiters like coordinator or
hmm
even your weeping cloud who doesn't have the same grasp of being able to use the windows and palettes like the others.
definitely. Especially with how Bane's hook actually destroys the gardener's bubble
Hmm.
as soon as like it doesn't even matter what presence he's at. The hook will just destroy the gardener's bubble.
Yep, that hook will eat it immediately.
Coordinator has a fairly good chance if she's not first chase here. But again, that gamekeeper is actually gamekeeper is surprisingly able to close distance fairly well, with his hook being able to pull in places. Early game, it's kind of it could be better, but like you only have 2 hooks.
Hmm.
But once you reach that final presence, it becomes infinitely harder for the survivors, because
For
his
sure.
movement is increased by so much. All right, looks like we have cheerleaders spawning in mid here.
Really avoiding that graveyard area. It really is depending on who you are playing. Usually not the most viable position to spawn in. Certain characters do prosper better there. I would say Perfumer, Enchantress, characters that are based on how long they can survive in a more dense area. Um,
Definitely,
but this is not a cast of characters or survivors that you really want to see.
yeah, absolutely. looks like we're gonna be starting out. Gamekeeper's gonna be making his way towards mid here, towards that cheerleader.
Immediately dragging yourself in. You really want to you really want to catch up to the survivor as much as possible. Looks like we are chasing, I believe that is our cheerleader first.
Ooh, good hook.
Great hook here.
Oh, unfortunately the hook does miss. We're gonna have to be waiting for that stram, which gives that cheerleader time to recover from her pom-pom. Breaking that pallet, just trying to close distance.
Using that 9 to the best of her abilities. She's really trying her best to loop herself away.
Ooh,
oh, beautiful hook
from the gamekeeper. Unfortunately, is going to be slowed here, but does manage to make that vault. We have blink up here in 1 second. Could be bad for the cheerleader. Oh, misses the hook, but we might see blink come out here. We see blink. Oh, and the flywheel comes out.
Beautiful flywheel coming from this cheerleader. Unfortunately, we're gonna hit through the pallet here.
Unfortunately, a beautiful flywheel.
We had a really great starting kite coming off this cheerleader here. We have a lot of really great progress on our ciphers.
Definitely. Gardner just finishing up her cipher here. We have coordinator coming in. Wait, no, we might have Weeping Clown coming in here for the rescue. Trying to give off that tinnitus just to waste more time. Weeping Clown coming in. Doesn't want to use his rocket this early, but that Gamekeeper's just trying to waste for time before half. Misses the rocket, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, we're getting hit right off chair. But using her motivate here, she's gonna try and get as much distance as she can, but unfortunately, with the character just like the Gamekeeper, distance isn't really much of a problem.
However, we are gonna see again with that
beautiful hook.
Again with that hook. Just try it's hard to close distance, especially with that tie turner. We do see a trap near the window of Graveyard.
Setting up a lot of good traps here. Really trying to make sure that we're blocking off any access points that we have to this cheerleader.
It's like we're just trying to stall for time. If that coordinator
this Gamekeeper is really anticipating using that flare there.
There we go, nice flare gun. Just rescues before the chair is over. We're just gonna be ignoring that coordinator because she is stuck at a chip health. Beautiful dodge. Oh, unfortunately.
That hook.
Ooh, the flywheel.
Woo! Beautiful flywheel. This
flywheel manages to get
coming
the pallet.
off of.
Okay, unfortunately, the cheerleader goes down, but we do have, I believe we do have the Weeping Clown over here trying to harass.
Weeping Clown is in the vicinity.
Oh, and he looks like he's gonna go down here.
Also have to remember that the cheerleader also does not have 3, so the 1 cipher remaining here is a little bit of a problem, even if she were to be able to get up and make it to the last cipher. Oh, looks like we are just barely missing that trap here. That coordinator is in a tough spot.
Coordinator unfortunately could not dodge all those hooks.
And as soon as the coordinator goes down, the Weeping Clown gets back up.
See, Gardner's working on a new cipher here. We're gonna see that Weeping Clown wrap around that graveyard here. Ooh, trying to get some progress on that cipher. The Gamekeeper changes targets off chair.
Weeping Clown is in the vicinity.
The rocket cancels the rocket.
Oh, barely missing that hook.
Unfortunate. Gets the hit down on the Weeping Clown, but that did give enough time for the Gardner to go in to rescue the coordinator. However, the Gardner did drop her toolbox for a decoy. we're
using the
just switch to
teleport. Just
Coordinator
trying
getting
to
spotted. Oh,
really cut off the decoding here. The coordinator is in a little bit of a tough spot here.
Coordinator trying her best, dodges the hook. That is the best spot you can play against that gamekeeper right there. You just can't counter that. Gotta move on there. Places a trap so the coordinator can't vault, but the coordinator vaults anyway.
Beautiful, beautiful trap placement and beautiful hook. You know, it's a really great place for that coordinator to hide. Looks like we are going to be trying to put a little bit of pressure on that Cypher here. This is forcing the Gardner to come out.
Oh, misses the hook. Trying to wait for that bubble to go down, trying to hit the coordinator. Hits the coordinator, but Cypher is primed.
Cypher is primed. Beautiful, beautiful teamwork coming off of these survivors
misses the hook
here.
just barely.
These hooks are really, really great. You know, putting a trap by the gate really forces them to have to take that trap down and really have to focus on getting...
Decoy comes out.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, but unfortunately, it's not going to be able to do anything there. You're leaving the Gardner down. Teleport's ready in 4 seconds here. Coordinator's kind of out of luck here. There's not much she can do. Unfortunately, this is a pretty good spot actually to play against Bane. Unfortunately, the coordinator. Coordinator barely gets. Barely misses the hit.
Just by the nick of her teeth. Here, she's barely getting.
Is back up.
There's a really great block and evade from the coordinator
the
here.
Quite open. The gate is not quite open. They're leaving the gate because they know he has teleport.
They're going to the other side of the map here.
Gardner's almost at the other gate. Weeping Clown is giving off tinnitus. Detention has 30 seconds left on the clock.
The Gardner does have her Guardian back up, so she does have the opportunity to wrap around and head straight towards the dungeon. Looks like she is going right back to the gate, though.
Weeping Clown just has to last as long as he can. Unfortunately, gets hooked.
Oh, hooked right out of his rocket here.
Unfortunate. Which means that we are most likely going to be getting one person out unless CCC is able to get to the other gate in time. And it looks like the Gardner is guaranteeing her spot out. All right.
We are going to see a one-man. You know, that was really insane gameplay coming from this gamekeeper here. You know, phenomenal teamwork coming off of GNC. And their survivors here. They had a lot of really great communication, and overall, for how diverse that these survivor picks were, they worked really, really well together.
Yes, they did work really well together. Even though they only got one person out, it just really shows how well they were able to play together and work with each other's abilities. It's just unfortunate a couple times where it didn't work out in their favor. But right now we're moving on to second half with GNC is going to be hunting and D3 is going to be on Survivor.
Very excited to see what GNC brings to the table on their hunter side here. You know, I've seen C3 before in the past. We do know that like there's just a lot of diversity with both teams, even just by seeing the first matchup here.
Definitely. We're going to be seeing our Survivor bands soon here, hopefully. Just again, in like good trap placement, especially on that coordinator before the Cypher's prime. Not much she could really do there, unfortunately. She either had to vault or take that trap, or just had to take that hook. Unfortunately, neither was a good option. and she just didn't have anything to help her out in that situation.
You had a lot of really great work coming off of that coordinator there. You know, especially at the end there, her being able to miss that Bane's hit, just by calculating or seeing his hitbox up close. With how wide his hitbox is, it's not very much an easy feat, but she pulled it off super well here. Buying
Absolutely.
just a little bit of time for the clown to get back up.
Absolutely. Letting that Weeping Clown get up was a huge part of their team because that allowed them to prime the Cypher and let the Gardener go into rescue.
hmm It does look like our first bans are going to be Coordinator and Gardener, um, on GNC side, which is, I would say these are very fair choices. Um, Having to see how we have to deal with, how even they play Coordinator, you don't really want to see how, other teams can utilize her just as well. And of
Definitely.
course, Emma
Very
is
strong picks.
strong here as well.
Looks like we're going to be getting our first Survivor picks being Antiquarian for the first time and Novelist. Finally seeing Antiquarian make an appearance. Honestly, Antiquarian on a map is like Eversleeping is a very good pick, being able to stun the Hunter, slow him
Mhm.
down. Just the amount of utility she provides. Looks like our
All
next
right.
turn
Yeah,
here.
looks
Ooh,
like our next band is the Aeroplanist. Um, you know, another great survivor that we've seen get banned pretty often now, just because of how much distance he can get, and he offers a lot of support to his teammates.
first officer come making an appearance. Very strong rescuer. Definitely, definitely worth the pick with his also with his decoding buff. Ooh, and our last survivor band is going to be patient. Very good kiter, especially on Eversleeping, with as many walls as there are.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna be seeing that first officer come in, really great support, really heavy rescue support, but also, after using all those pocket watches, being able to help with a decoding buff at the end there is very vital to his team. We're also going to be seeing a patient ban. This really makes me think that we're going to be seeing a hunter who doesn't have the same kind of chase that a lot of other hunters do. Um, Perhaps we might be seeing a disciple play here.
Definitely, definitely being able to counter that antiquarian and first officer at least a little bit. Maybe even the novelist. A disciple pick would actually be very good for GNC here.
Mhm.
We're just locking in our builds here. We're gonna see that hunter pick here soon.
Mhm. I really do think my favorite thing about being able to really help out and commentate for a tournament is like genuinely being able to see how diverse each team plays and being able to also make predictions along with everyone else. Seeing team compositions that aren't always the typical meta that you see after a peak tier is it's really refreshing.
Definitely, a lot in rank, especially the high tier meta gets especially stale,
Mhm.
especially with like when you see the same team comps over and over. Looks like we are going to be seeing Sangria come out for the hunter on GNC.
Just waiting for everyone's persona builds to come in, but yes, we are going to be seeing that opera singer in here. You know, you have a lot of really great characters here that really will help with the distance and breaking that between you and the opera singer. You really want, especially the acrobat, to be first kite here because he really
Definitely.
could prove just how far he can take this.
Absolutely. I Novelist is definitely going to be GNC's best bet for first kite here. Antiquarian
Mhm.
early game, especially with Sangria, uh, being a single hit hunter, is very difficult with Antiquarian. And again, with the smaller hitbox, it's very hard to hit the first officer while he's invisible.
Mhm. I definitely wholeheartedly agree.
And as we've seen before, that Acrobat being able to lock out the dash is like basically negating chase for at least a couple seconds here is a huge waste of time for the hunter.
Mhm. Yeah, very excited to see just how far we can really push this team composition in. And overall, very excited to see just how utilized this antiquarian is. We really
Definitely,
do not see her as often um as we used to, or even then, she is definitely a force to be reckoned with here.
definitely. Seeing that Antiquarian definitely like it's very interesting because we don't get to see her that often. She's banned so often that we haven't really gotten to see much Antiquarian gameplay and how she plays out with characters like Opera. So hopefully we get some interesting spawns here. I'm gonna I'm gonna do the assumption first officer is gonna be spawning in mid.
Hmm.
Definitely, first officer is probably most likely gonna be in mid here. Gonna probably be seeing that antiquarian maybe near bottom. Yeah, that novelist is probably trying to spawn closer to either the cipher or attempt to rotate to graveyard early.
Hmm. This is definitely one of those positions where you definitely really want certain survivors in the positions that will work best. Um,
Definitely,
Graveyard is one of those places where spawning there is just, it can lead to a bit of a struggle if you're not playing certain survivor that fits best there. There are certain survivors that I just feel are, work much better.
definitely.
Looks like we are going to be restarting just because we did not get persona builds in. Um and we're just gonna do a nice clean rerun. I'm very excited to see how the matches go on. From here on forth, I am just letting everyone know that after this match I will be hopping off, but Mima will be taking my place. But I hope to enjoy this match with you guys.
Hopefully we get an interesting last match with you here.
I would enjoy.
See some unique and interesting plays. And it looks like we are all set to go back. We're going to be picking the same spawns as before.
Yep, same spawn placements, same everything. You know, again, I love Ever Sleeping for what it is, and it is one of my favorite maps to play on, especially when I get the opportunity to really be able to play Priestess, and I hope that soon we'll be able to see Priestess to her full extent soon.
Definitely. We
You
haven't gotten
know,
to see a lot of priest. We haven't gotten to see pretty much any priestess this game, but hopefully we do get to see some more soon. Looks like we've loaded in, same spawn point. Looks like we're heading immediately towards that middle section there. Quick dashes here from GNC, immediately catching up with that first officer here.
Really being able to take that first officer out of the playing field is
Ooh, pocket watch
definitely
comes
what
out.
you want best. Getting a little lost in the hypnosis of the first officer here. Looks like the opera singer is just trying her best to really catch on to a different survivor here.
Definitely. It looks like we're going to be going after that acrobat in graveyard here. Oh, and we do notice that our Sangria here does have excitement, probably preparing for that Antiquarian to harass.
You know, that Antiquarian has a lot of really great harassment capabilities here, despite past just being able to support herself with her jump and the small speed boost that she even gets.
Ooh, beautiful hit
on that first officer.
Quickly catching up here. First officer does have one more pocket watch that's going to be used right now.
Using these pocket watches, especially so early on in the game here.
Oh, just barely gets hit by that second pocket watch.
Especially super early.
Oh, gets the hit on the first officer.
Hit. Really, really beautiful prediction coming off of the Sangria here.
We do, however, have two ciphers done though, but their rescuer is down. Their strongest rescuer.
Their strongest rescuer is down. Unfortunately, this does leave the Sangria to really have to buy for time here and sit on this first officer as much as she can, but also at the same time delay decoding as much as possible, which is a fair thing because I believe.
Oh, first officer rescued behind Opera Singer's back. Barely misses that fire bomb. Gets hit through the pallet.
Beautiful hit through that pallet. Looks like that novelist is still just decoding out there.
Yeah, that novelist giving tinnitus, distracting the opera singer definitely helped out with that rescue, but unfortunately, just against an opera singer, it's hard to create that much distance. We do see Acrobat coming in here, probably trying to run away from the chair. Novelist jumping down, Acrobat taking a hit. Missed the novelist going into graveyard. Oh, nope, we're going back. But however, our first officer is successfully rescued. Heading immediately over to where they are. Just barely misses the pallet stun on the novelist. Unfortunately, first officer is going to go down here. The ciphers are being worked on.
Great fight being done by this first officer here. Unfortunately, we are going to see him get sent back to the manor, and the Antiquarian decoding right here in the Sangria's face. You know, we're going to be utilizing this graveyard as much as possible.
Definitely. We're gonna be seeing Antiquarian get hit here. Hasn't seen the blink, so hopefully we see Antiquarian assuming that the hunter has excitement. Going back at that novelist here, getting swapped. Taking the hit
Beautiful
though, unfortunately.
hit. Did have a little bit of a rough start to the beginning of this match, but you know, all we
Immediately
are
jumping back.
seeing a really great comeback coming off of this sangria here.
Definitely. After that weak early game, we had a very strong end game here.
Still right in the middle here, but working on the last two ciphers, trying to really put a lot of pressure here.
Cypher going after. Oh, the Cypher pops. We do have Antiquarian kiting and Graveyard. Teleport's back. We do have Trump card ready though, in case we have a teleport coming up. Like Sangria is making her way over to Novelist. Gets hit through
Beautiful
the pallet,
hit through that pallet. We are just seeing so slowly the speed that the opera singer has.
If we see a teleport over here, that ooh, we're seeing a teleport, but the Antiquarian is the one at gate right now. We're seeing her stun.
Oh.
10-second stun gives enough time to. Ooh, and the Sangria teleports back, hoping to catch the Acrobat off guard, who's trying to go into the rescue.
Really pushing here to cut these survivors off as much as possible. You know, that stun is just so detrimental here. Especially at a time like this, we are gonna see the Acrobat try and go in for a rescue. The Sangria is just so fast, she's just gonna cut him off right here.
Unfortunately, not much Acrobat can do right here. Manages to dodge the hit, she can't dash anymore.
Ooh, another beautiful hit through that pallet. You know, that takes a lot of discipline coming off of the Sangria here. She is still trying to get that gate open. She is right in that gate, which means this is going to be a one-man escape.
So first round is going to be a tie here.
BO3.
All right. Both teams, we have both gotten 3 men have been sent back to the manor. So it looks like we're gonna be tied for our first round.
We had a really great matchup today with with this team here. You know, overall really enjoyed the communication that you could clearly see coming off of the side of C3. You know, this is a team that's been rooted for a good few years now, which means they have a lot of built-in trust with each other and being able to communicate with each other the exact position of where they are and how well they want to execute things. It shows. It really shows.
Definitely. No, they especially against the Sangria, there's you have to do a lot to play against her. And so there was some unfortunate moments, like the first officer getting hit out of his pocket watch there, but it was just mostly unlucky. But we did have some great support from the novelist and acrobat coming out.
We had a lot of really great discipline coming off of this opera singer. You know, heading through pallets and missing pallet stuns is sometimes can be a little tricky. So, especially at the end game here where we had been pinching for time, um, it really paid off.
Definitely. All right, looks like we're gonna be heading into round 2 here soon.
Um, well, I'm really glad I got to experience that. I'm going to be taking my leave, but thank you guys so much for having me. I'll see you guys next weekend.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Have a great day.
I'm all alone. All right, and looks like we got Mima here. Hi, Mima.
Hello. Hi, Trickster. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me, and thank you so much for Mian's hard work. It was really great to be on the audience, and I'm really happy to hop right in. Um, that was such a fun first round.
I agree. Seeing as much teamwork as they did have, it was very interesting, especially because we got to see our first antiquarian here.
Absolutely. It's a little bit unfortunate that she's going to end up as a global ban, but it was nice to see her in the first round, especially on a map like Ever Sleeping. I feel like it's a fun map to utilize her.
Definitely. Unfortunately, the hunter did bring excitement, which does suck for the antiquarian, meaning she didn't get to use her stick that often. But
For sure. I think
fortunately, they played it off very well.
agreed. I'm really glad to see how well they were able to utilize not just their character capabilities but their game sense as well. I was really captivated and on the edge of my seat when I saw that last cipher pop.
Definitely.
I was at first thinking that the opera singer was dropping down early to get that acrobat in case that they were going to take the vault, but
Mhm.
seeing them make the mad dash for the antiquarian and that antiquarian just knowing when to pop really made
Definitely.
for an intense situation at our end game there.
Absolutely. I do think that it was a very stressful game, and both teams did super well. So seeing a tie the first round already, it's very impressive from both sides being able to get three people from each. Especially as fast as Opera Singer was. It was very hard to pressure both gates at once like she did.
Yeah, I 100% agree. It does look like we're going into round two here. We're going to be in the first half. I'm really excited to see how these team compositions are going to be looking like, especially with our map pick. Let me squint
Looks like we're
here.
gonna be doing that. Looks like we're gonna be at Chinatown.
Ooh, another really fun and open map. I feel like it's good for both survivors and hunter in the sense that
Definitely.
there's some really strong areas, but there's also a lot of open space that you'll end up having
Definitely.
to pass through when you're transitioning.
Yeah, especially those huge open areas when you want to get to good kiting areas. It's very important.
Yeah, agreed. And speaking of these good kiting areas, they can definitely diminish in their value once those window vaults get broken.
Definitely. And I know a lot of hunters are gonna be like when they get someone chaired, if it's one near one of those vaulting spots, they're gonna be vaulting over that to try to get that out of the way as soon as they can.
Oh, absolutely. That's a fun little trick. We'll see how it goes. I definitely am looking forward to seeing maybe some more sneaky plays. We saw a little bit of that in our last match too, when the tinnitus baiting was able to get a backdoor rescue there. So we'll see if it works in the survivor's favor here.
Definitely. Looks like we're gonna be seeing a seer and priestess band, very standard bands, especially for a map like Chinatown. Priest is super strong on this map, especially
Oh,
with
absolutely.
how large the buildings can get and how many like different angles you can get.
Yeah, and considering that these teams have been communicating really well with each other, it would be no surprise for a priestess to utilize their portals and help these survivors transition instead of going out into the open. The seer ban is again pretty standard, but it does take some hunters out of the possibility pool in
Definitely.
terms of yeah.
All right, and it looks like we're getting our first survivor picks up here soon. Hopefully, we're seeing some new characters and maybe a couple we haven't seen before. And it looks like we're gonna be getting a patient and a forward in.
Oh, these are
Definitely
some
good
really solid
backers.
picks. Yeah, definitely. And considering the terrain, I feel like there's a lot of more opportunities for them to utilize both their hooks and their rugby ball, less terrain to accidentally crash into or get stuck on.
Definitely, and that patient, especially going to be strong at two-story, being able to hook himself up onto those stairs.
Yeah,
It's
I
gonna be extremely strong.
agreed, and we can definitely anticipate a more optimal spawn selection in terms of the patient.
Definitely.
So we are going to be moving into the bands next. I would hope for A toy merchant, considering she makes a pretty good priestess alternative and her catapults are really strong in terms of making it past open space. But it does look like she's going to be taken off the table here.
Fortunately, she is very strong in Ever Sleeping, being able to glide from a lot of places on the map.
That's
Mostly,
right.
her catapults have offer very good support. Again, basically doing the same thing as the patient hook. It's you either have to ban one or the other, and Toy Merchant being able to support the same way patient can kite, it's very difficult.
Absolutely. And with a lot of aim as well, a lot of those catapults could be utilized to get from the regular ground up onto the second stories. I know there's some pretty cool catapult spots that you can take for the bridges, for example, the little overpasses.
Definitely. Right. Looks like we have our next survivor pick in, which is Lawyer, a very good pick on this map with how big these buildings are. You're able to the hunter won't be able to mind game you as well. Like you basically can see the hunter, you're able to rotate super easily based on how the hunter is playing.
Agreed, and it's really going to help out in terms of communicating with your teammates. Lawyer is a really solid pick in general, and it's really going to help out the team if this lawyer especially doesn't get found first thing.
Definitely. And we should be getting our fourth survivor ban here soon. I'm definitely expecting who would we expect? Fourth for fourth ban, honestly, here. Maybe a harasser would be a good ban, but it looks like our fourth ban is going to be all right.
They might opt for a rescuer instead, in case this forward doesn't want to bring Tide.
Definitely.
I do see Patience bringing Tide as well, though. A kiting build definitely helps him out, especially if he utilizes the hooks early on.
We are seeing the psychologist get banned though.
hmm It does look like our final lock-in is going to be Barmaid.
Ooh, interesting. I don't think we've seen a barmaid yet, have we?
Not yet. I'm really excited to see how they
I'm super
utilize
excited to see
Demony.
this.
If she ends up getting the first kite, then she'll be able to utilize that Dovlin to hopefully heal herself. But if not, it's going to be really fun to see her assist the team.
Definitely. Especially if they know how to do the rescue drink trick when the survivor gets right off chair, that could be super helpful for that team, especially with how strong these kiters are.
Agreed. I absolutely love that trick. It's nice being able to see barmaids pull it off. And it really helps out when even if you don't have Tide, it's worth taking that rescue and trying to utilize that drink to have you up at full health, hopefully if you can rebound.
Definitely. That speed drink definitely will help her be able to rotate to better spots.
And gain distance from the hunter as well. So we are going to get our builds locked in here. I guess considering that they don't have a rescue, we could anticipate that forward with Tide, though I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't end up getting that.
Oh my god, we're seeing a clerk come out on Chinatown.
Ooh, this is going to be a
Oh, I'm so
really...
excited.
Me too. It's always a pleasure to see clerk matches. It could go on for longer, but that's all the more fun to watch. I definitely think this is going to be a pretty intense matchup. I know we discussed it earlier, but considering the abilities of Clerk, they're going to have to be even more extra careful when it comes to vaulting things and getting recorded, because it's going to be a
Definitely.
lot more easier for Keegan to take down those possible vaults.
Absolutely. And the survivors just, especially with that Demi, she's going to have to watch out so the other survivors don't have, so she doesn't have any pilot recordings because that could really mess with the Demi healing or kiting.
Agreed. I'm hoping to see a little bit more of the the hit recordings from the clerk as well. I know they have the
Definitely.
barmaid to help out with chip damage, but it's always so fun to see those tricky plays, especially when it comes to chair camps as well, getting in that extra hit.
Definitely. And it looks like we're going to be starting with our spawns here. We're going to see Lawyer start around to the right side of the map. Oh, on second,
Okay.
second story.
Okay, so we're gonna opt a little bit away from there. I wonder if this clerk is... Oh, so we're not going to spawn over at the blue lights area. Clerk is going to spawn right next to the patient. All right, so we are going into the first half of round 2 with our C3 survivors up against our GNC Hunter. Good luck to both teams. Now we're going to see the clerk commit to this patient over here, and patient is doing a really good job of creeping and getting rid of that trail. Clerk is actually going to rotate over towards the middle and double check on that cipher, but we aren't going to see clerk move over to the lawyer cipher. We're instead going to see clerk move over to the middle where forward is out and about, and we're going into the restaurant area.
Definitely, and it looks like we're going to be sticking with that forward chase, getting that harasser out as soon as you can.
Yeah, and if we can utilize this rugby ball early on,
Gets the pallet recording.
Right, and we've used about a quarter of our rugby ball, and we are going to get a beautiful recording of that pallet drop. Yes.
Good timing on that clerk.
Luckily, we aren't going to be having basement here, but it does seem that forward is our tidebringer, so we're not going to see broken windows or anything get utilized here. We do have a little bit more of rugby ball, but Blink is online at this point. Oh, excellent usage of the vault recording.
Preventing that forward from going in. Does use the pallet recording, saving the delay. Gets a terror shock on the... Oh my god.
Amazing Blink to terror shock the forward. Now at this point of the game, we have utilized all of the rugby ball from forward's end. So we're going to see forward get shared right outside of the restaurant. This is a tough situation.
Just even having that circle around the cipher is enough to scare the survivors off of it, even if you don't have any scrolls. We did see Clerk get one recording of her vault as she was going to pick up forward. So we do have one in reserve.
It does look like we have patient moving in, giving that tinnitus, though we're not quite close to have a rescue just yet. Forward is going to get pushed a little half over here, but barmaid and lawyer do have pretty good progress on their ciphers.
Seems lawyer has switched over to a different cipher, probably just to avoid that clerk, leaving a cipher almost decoded. That looks like that barmaid's about to finish her cipher up.
Yeah, this clerk is doing a really good job of keeping an eye on that lawyer, especially considering that he is the decoder of their team.
It seems we're selling the forward just so we can get as much decoding as we can. That clerk being able to pressure those ciphers, it's very hard. Patient tried his best giving tinnitus, but unfortunately it just was not enough.
And now, without that tinnitus triggered, we are going to have clerk move around and find their next target. Patient has done a really good job to keep themselves out of line of sight for this clerk, but of course, since we've been keeping a close eye on this lawyer, they're going to be the next target.
Definitely, and it looks like lawyer's cipher was about halfway done, so if one of his teammates are able to make their way back... Ooh, gets that recording on the patient being able to lock the cipher.
Oh my goodness. Ooh, excellent usage of the pallet dropping to pick up that pallet. We are going to have lawyer take a hit here.
Again, spectating that cipher, just not letting them decode.
And now that lawyer is utilizing this blue lights area, it does take these ciphers off the table for the moment. We really need to be careful of the basement over here in case he ends up getting chaired.
Breaking the pallet with her recording. Gets that pallet out of the way super fast. Blink is up in a second here. We're not going to see it come out just yet, but we are going to see lawyer down here. Patient again, his Cypher being locked there.
Yeah. Good on making distance from these other possible chairs, though again, this this chair is pretty close to some older ciphers, and with the cipher on the opposite side of the map being closely watched by this clerk, it does really slow down their decoding.
Definitely. And I assume we have a couple of recording copies at this moment. Looks like we have Barmaid gonna heal herself. However, Blink is gonna be ready. Might take her out with the charged attack here. Oh,
And
the
we
charged
are!
attack reaches.
Unfortunately, Barmaid is going to get stuffed at the chair. Patient is now on the move, but at this point, Lawyer is pretty close to getting sent back to the manor on this first chair.
Unfortunately, most likely won't make it in time to get that Lawyer. The Patient is giving tinnitus here. Gets spotted by the clerk. Probably trying to distract so the Barmaid is able to heal up. Give her enough time to mix the drink. We're gonna see Patient being first cut this guy here.
Excellent
Just
usage
in
of the
time to dodge
hook.
the hit.
Oh,
Blocks the
excellent
window.
usage of that recording to block the patient. Oh, we are gonna see a flywheel.
Good.
Good.
Out the pallet.
Good patience
Gets
on the
the
patient.
recording.
We are gonna see a hit here.
Barmaid's healing herself up. See, Patient getting ready to use another hook here, trying to create more distance.
Oh, unfortunately, we
but
aren't
it's a
going to
hook.
get that hook. Yeah, like Trickster said, it did end up canceling that second hook, so we are only going to have one left. We do still have pickup on the patient, but Barmaid at this moment is in the chest. Oh, unfortunately, we are going to pull a syringe after healing ourselves from those last Dublins.
Yeah, unfortunately, not much you can do unless you're playing Doctor. With a syringe, there's not much you can do as another survivor with that syringe. It takes far too long to heal, and you're just gonna probably end up taking another hit right after you do finish.
That's right, and our hunter is keeping a really close eye on this middle cipher. And we're gonna see a charge hit here on the Barmaid. And she's gonna take the speed boost to go up the... Oh, we're not going to go up to the second story, but instead... Oh, get pallet baited here, unfortunately. Now, Barmaid has expended the self-pickup, so we are just going to see a switch to teleport here. And now Patient is gonna utilize the last hook
Ooh,
over here.
Gorgeous hug. Another vault recording here.
We are going to see Patient go up the hotel stairs. We don't have too much to work with considering the pallets here have already been utilized and broken. Flywheel is almost online for this patient. Oh, excellent usage of the recording to pick up that pallet.
Unfortunately, Fly was a little too early to get the Patient down, securing the foreman for GNC.
Yeah, really well played on GNC's end. This is a really intense match, as of course, there was a lot of pressure on both the survivors decoding as well as the survivor who was first chased as well. We saw the forward expend a lot of their items, and as well as the Barmaid, the patient. We're not going to see quite a surrender yet, but it's up to the clerk to figure out where this Barmaid has dropped and crawled
Barely
over
misses
to.
the Barmaid. Barmaid crawling away. Unfortunately, might be spotted. Yep, is spotted right here.
Yes, unfortunately, we aren't going to get that dungeon crawl escape, so we are going to be securing that 4-man elimination. This puts GNC in a good spot with a 5 points off of this matchup.
Alright, and it looks like we're moving on to round 2 second half, where we are gonna have C3 hunting and GNC surviving.
I'm definitely looking forward to the next match. They'll really have to put in their all to match this 4-man elimination.
Definitely, and I'm gonna be looking. I'm looking forward to seeing how C3 is gonna have to play with this because they are gonna need the foreman to tie the score.
Agreed. So we are going to be moving on to the ban and pick selection. I do believe that our global bans are going to be for coordinator and gardener. I definitely think this is one of those maps that Gardner is good on. So it's a shame we won't be seeing her. Maybe I'm just biased, but I do appreciate how a lot of these chairs end up a little bit clumped together, so it's easier to dismantle them and harass the hunter, even if it's just out of inconvenience.
Definitely.
Of course, for our next survivor bans, we can definitely anticipate Priestess taken off the table once again, considering this is a really great map for her to utilize those portals and assist teammates, but we'll be waiting on A3 for those bans. I'm also curious to see if they're going to opt for taking out their round 1 hunter in terms of banning, or take the opportunity to ban a different hunter that they might not want to see.
Chinatown is a strong map for Gamekeeper, but I honestly don't think we will be seeing him again. With the team comp we just had, I saw as we saw, Clerk is very strong for this map, and you want a lot of map pressure for a map like Chinatown.
Agreed. So it looks like we are going to be taking Priestess off the table as well as Aeroplanist.
Yeah, Airplanist being able to take as much distance as he can. It's going to be, especially in Chinatown, it's very hard for that hunter to catch up with someone like that.
Absolutely, and getting to utilize that hover, if the hunter gets a little too close for comfort, is also going to would help them out as well. So it's smart to take him off the table as well. I'm manifesting the toy merchant again. Excuse my bias, but she definitely makes for a really good alternative to both of these survivors.
Definitely a toy merchant. Toy merchant is a very strong pick on this map, so we might see that for one of the first picks, so they can get her as soon as they can before she's banned.
Agreed. At this point, it would probably be better to, if they wish to utilize the toy merchant, to utilize that toy merchant before she gets banned. And of course, even if she does get global banned, she makes for a really helpful alternative.
Definitely looking forward to that, because toy merchant has such insane support on this map, and honestly, would be a huge pick for GNC if they're able to use her.
That's right.
So hopefully we see our picks here soon.
Yeah, we're cutting a little close to our time limit in terms of ban and picks, but I believe they're going to be banning a hunter first thing. And it does look like we are going to be opting for that Gamekeeper ban. Like you said, Trickster, it is a pretty solid map for Gamekeeper.
Definitely, it's a very, especially with some of the trap locations you can get, you can lock off areas like the stairs at hotel, or honestly like just pretty much any of those drops off of the bridge. There's very narrow locations on this map, and it's very hard to deal with that when you're playing against a Bane.
Agreed.
Especially how we saw C3 play. Especially how we saw C3 play Gamekeeper in round 1.
Yeah, that was
Definitely
a
the
really
Gamekeeper is a very strong pick.
Yeah, it was a really intense match. Even though they were doing their best to avoid these hooks, um, they were really able to utilize the hook not only to chip those survivors, but to cancel out their abilities. And we are going to be seeing Antiquarian and Toy Merchant. Very happy
Very
to see
strong
them
picks.
both.
Very strong picks for GNC.
That's right. I mean, we've gone over the strengths of Toy Merchant, especially in a map like Chinatown. But another strong pick for this map is Antiquarian. There's a lot that you can do, even just in terms of kiting. So if we do end up with another situation where the hunter ends up bringing excitement, there's still a lot you can do in terms of getting that speed boost, or just even taking the jump over a vault.
Definitely. And it looks like our third survivor pick is going to be a mercenary. Definitely a very strong survivor, especially with how much kiting they have on this team available to them.
Agreed. And we did end up taking Female Dancer and Embalmer off of the table, who I do believe were some pretty solid choices as well. There's a lot of ciphers and palettes close enough for Female Dancer to really optimize where we're gonna put those boxes. And considering that Cypher Rush was a little bit of an issue in the last match, it would be helpful to not really have a decoder, but a pseudo decoder like Dancer in terms of the fast boxes. And of course, Embalmer is pretty strong. We have not one, but two stories to utilize the coffin at. But we are going to be seeing Lawyer as our fourth and final pick.
Also, very good pick. As we saw, he's able to rotate super easily and play off of basically his map, being able to see where the hunter is.
Yeah, agreed. And I mean, even if we do end up seeing the hunter take that spawn by the lawyer, it's really going to help the lawyer out to be able to rotate as quickly as possible.
Definitely.
For whichever area we do end up having to go. I'm curious to see which hunter we're going to be seeing next.
Yep, we're just currently locking in builds for GNC right now, and hopefully we see who our hunter is after that. I'm hoping for maybe a Naiad pick, honestly.
I definitely think this is a really great map for Naiad as well. Sorry for pulling out of VC. I accidentally joined on my laptop.
You okay? We might see another clerk here, or we might see definitely a faster chase hunter, especially to deal with that antiquarian and toy merchant.
Mm-hmm. I hope we see a hunter that we haven't quite seen in this tournament yet so far. I mean, we are on day 3. Oh, we're going to be seeing.
Oh my god!
Wizard. Where's Bones?
I was literally talking about this. Oh my god! I am so happy. I was hoping for this. I needed. Oh my god, Lucino. I was literally hoping for this earlier. Oh my god.
Oh, I'm so hyped. I definitely think that this is another really great map for the evil reptilian. And they're really going to have to be careful with the vaults that they're going to be taking and which areas they're going to use up, especially considering that lethal crash.
Definitely, especially with his buff being able to, it targets everyone in that area, being able to, and that infinite jump is going to be super hard for that other team to counter. Even toy merchant, like countering that toy merchant, like basically doing the same thing that toy merchant does, being able to jump like that.
Mm-hmm. Even if they do maximize distance in terms of the toy merchant catapults, getting to rotate fast enough, the evil reptilian choice is really going to pose a threat to this team composition. Oh, I'm so excited already. I hope we just get right into it here. So it does look like we're going to see a no borrowed time Annie here. We're going to set up in the blue lights middle area for this Annie. And we're going to see Lawyer and Antiquarian take the opposite ends, the opposite gate, and of course our rescuer down the middle.
We're going to be trying to lock that cipher in your top left there. Definitely a strong cipher to lock, especially taking that hotel area is going to be especially important because that means no time for the lawyer to rotate there or the toy merchant to set up her catapults to help support.
Exactly. I'm wondering who we're going to take as our first target because Lawyer is still able to go the other way if we don't chase him first, but it does allow Toy Merchant to set up here. So we are going to be moving into the second half of round 2. Oh my gosh, good luck to both teams. This is a really good spawn. So we are going to see Toy Merchant as our first target here. We aren't going to be able to set up at all.
Immediately rotating towards that mill here, spawning 2 survivors.
So we are going to...
Toy merchant.
Yeah, we're going to catch up to Toy Merchant pretty fast, who does run into the lawyer, but it seems like we're going to commit to this Toy Merchant. Now, we haven't quite utilized our glider quite yet, but we are going to see Toy Merchant avoid those stairs. Really good anticipation on this Toy Merchant from avoiding the lizard so far. And we're not going to see a hit connect over at this pallet here quite yet. All right.
Toy merchant being able to pull a good distance here. Playing with that Lucino on the pallet.
Oh, excellent pallet stun.
We're not going to break that pallet.
Oh, we're going to see a catapult utilized. Oh, really excellent jump here.
Amazing catapult. Pulls out the blink for that first hit there.
Are we going to break this catapult? Oh, we're going to commit to this chase. So we're going to anticipate. Oh, unfortunately. Right, and Toy Merchant is on those stairs. Going to end up. Oh, we're going to cut off the.
Jump, unfortunately.
These two are like constantly like one step ahead of each other. This is like a really huge mind game here. The cipher progress is looking great. Oh my goodness! Unfortunately,
but it canceled. It did not put his jump on cooldown.
Oh.
We are gonna see Toy Merchant jump back down, pushing out the flywheel so she can vault that. We have 2 ciphers remaining. The last 2 ciphers are already being worked on.
Oh my goodness. If we do see Toy Merchant to continue extending this kite, they'll have to be mindful that she's the only... Actually, she's not the only member bringing no borrowed time on this team. But we are going to see Toy Merchant go down here. They do have really great cipher progress here, and we do have a mercenary all ready to go with full elbow pads. And we... Oh my goodness. Oh, so we are going to get a pause on this deduction. No worries while we wait for things to sort out. That was still a really intense match to witness so far.
Oh, it looks like our Toy Merchant has crashed, so we're just going to be waiting for a minute for them to reconnect.
No! IDV said no. No more rights. You did enough. You did your part.
It looks like we're going to be starting back up here soon. Hopefully, not too much of not too bad for the survivor.
That's right. Honestly, I've never really seen Lizard do those jumps there, so I was surprised to see how it was going to go when we saw those jumps around the staircase, including the one on the inside. All right, we're going to continue with this matchup, and we're going to continue to have Toy Merchant get basemented and get put in the very last chair.
In the very back, that could be difficult, but we do have the mercenary who's very strong when it comes to rescuing from the basement with those elbow pads. Immediately going to take that opportunity. This is a very short area to jump in, unfortunately not landing that lethal crash.
Ooh, real
gorgeous elbow pad.
And we are going to have the last cipher primed.
Seeing that lethal crash and going on last effort, unfortunately, which means the toy merchant does not have borrowed time.
They might push for a second rescue in this case, just as long as we can get away from basement right here.
Ooh,
We are gonna
unfortunate
see the
doesn't break the
catapult.
pallet.
Oh,
The
oh!
catapult. Oh, misses the jump.
We're going to see the last cipher get popped, and we are going to unfortunately see this toy merchant go down, but we do have some solid progress on both gates.
Exit gates are already being decoded as that last cipher was popped. Lawyer's gate is almost open.
And the mercenary is not too far behind. We still have that full health. Are we gonna get in through? Yes, we are. Oh. All right, and we do
And we have a 3-man from GNC.
Wow, really great play. And really great response to the last match. It was really fun to see not the decoder get chased for not both of these matches. We ended up seeing the lawyer get to peacefully decode, and we did have some actual kiters get utilized to their fullest potential. I really do think that it was good for Toy Merchant to take that spawn, and although that we saw that catapult later on into the game, there was just a lot of anticipation in terms of how the hunter was going to play. And same for the hunter as well. I definitely think that they were trying to guesstimate what the other person was going to do, and they played around a lot on the stairs and the double story, and it made for a really intense matchup all around.
Definitely. I'm surprised we didn't actually see Toy Merchant pull out her glider earlier.
Same.
She's definitely very patient with that, especially with the longer cooldown than the catapult. You do definitely have to wait longer with that glider being pulled out.
Yeah, that's right. And not breaking the catapult earlier on allowed for the toy merchant to utilize it not once, but 3 times, I believe, because we did see a little endgame catapult there.
Definitely.
So it does look like we are going to be pushing for a round 3 in that case. I'm definitely eager to see a round 3 considering how well both of these teams played. This matchup is pretty neck and neck, and I feel like that goes for all of the teams competing in this tournament so far.
All right. Yep, we're moving on to round 3 here. Score is currently 12-5 with that 3-man elimination on GNC's side. Or yeah, the full team wipe on GNC's side and 3-man escape puts them in the lead by quite a bit.
Yeah, definitely. They're really have to gonna go all out for round 3, which is gonna be a little bit tough considering we've got a lot of people, a lot of survivors taken off in terms of global ban as well as just like regular bans. I'm hoping to see some more surprise pick, especially since we saw picks like Evil Reptilian that we haven't quite seen yet in this tournament.
Definitely.
I'm hoping that we see an even bigger map get utilized for round 3. I know we had Ever Sleeping Town, we had Chinatown just in the previous match. But I would love to see something like Moonlit River Park or perhaps
Definitely.
Lakeside Village. I guess
We have not. I don't
Leo's
think
could.
we've seen either.
Mm-hmm.
Leo's definitely an interesting map to pick, but it is a very survivor-sided map with that factory loop there.
Agreed. All right. So, oh, okay. That that makes sense in terms of points. I feel like this is the toughest part of tournaments, actually keeping score, but we have lovely, lovely staff keeping tabs on this. We're proceeding into round 3 because of the tie in the round 1. And it's in GNC's lead as of right now. So C3 is going to catch up, is going to have to catch up 4 points for this round 3.
Definitely. All right, and let's see. We have the teams discussing on what map they want to ban.
Yeah, considering it's going to be C3 choosing the map, since they're the ones with the more pressure in terms of having to catch up in points, I wonder if they're going to opt for something that's more in favor of their survivor or their hunter. I know it really depends on the team and the players you've got.
I'm feeling they're going to be playing more for their hunter. And definitely, if Gamekeeper isn't banned, I definitely think Moonlit will be a very strong map. Because like, first round, we saw how strong their Gamekeeper can be.
Absolutely, and I
Gamekeeper is very strong on Moonlit.
agreed. And there are just so many areas where you can set those traps out that it's honestly really hard to keep track. That even if you witness the gamekeeper setting down these traps, it's totally possible for anyone to just completely misstep and end up there anyways.
Definitely.
Now it does look like we are going to be taking Red Church off the table. But
Ooh, and it looks like we're playing Leos.
yes, we were just talking about this trickster. I definitely think that this is a really fun map to go against. I know it's not everyone's favorite, but considering how much terrain there is and how many strong kiting areas there are,
Definitely.
not just the factory loot, but I am a Moongate Ruins fan over by the shack.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like even though it's not the greatest to be in corners, each corner has its own little strengths that you can utilize.
Very strong pick on this map again if she's not banned. However, as we saw last time, they had a very good toy merchant.
Agreed. So it does look like we are going to be having GNC starting off with survivors again. Unfortunately, Toy Merchant is going to be taken off the table due to getting globally banned and locked in the previous.
Definitely.
This also takes Antiquarian, Gardener, and Coordinator off the table. If somehow Priestess doesn't get banned first thing, I definitely think that would be a pretty strong choice, but I don't anticipate that they won't. How do I say this? English. We aren't going to be seeing Priestess because it is another one of those maps that really she can help out a lot. Not just for the factory loop, but just the global portal in general. It's such a huge map that making the distance is really important. Sometimes the ciphers are just so spread out, or depending on spawn or how the survivors have rotated, there's often times where maybe half of the map, the ciphers will be decoded, and you really need someone to take the last cipher or so, and it's just on the complete opposite side. And same goes for like rescues and stuff. Sometimes we end up with people. Oh, sometimes we don't end up with people chaired near anybody, as a matter of fact.
Airplane is just.
So we're gonna see Aeroplanist and Mercenary taken off the table, and so we are going to be seeing Aeroplanist and Mercenary taken off the table, but it does make room for the possible Priestess pick. Welcome back. And it does look like we are going to be seeing Gamekeeper banned as well as Fool's Gold. I'm literally clenching my teeth right now. Sorry, personal bias aside. We are not going to see either of these hunters, which, fair enough. I do feel like Leo's Memory is a pretty solid choice for Fool's Gold. There's a lot of terrain that you can get that pickaxe on, as well as when you set up the magnetic rock. You really have to watch out for that. So taking him off the table is a lot more of a safer choice. And we are going to be seeing Perfumer and Lawyer as our first survivor lock-ins.
Honestly, very strong picks, especially for a map like Leo's. Perfumer being able to perfume on that second story in Factory, it's just super strong. And that Lawyer being able to, like, again, Factory is just a super strong area for all the survivors.
And
Pretty
we
much
are going
wide
to
open.
be we're going to be taking Embalmer off the table as well. I do think that this is one of his best maps, especially with how big it is. And if we were to have that factory spawn, it would be strong to place your coffin there, not just for yourself, but potentially your other teammates.
Definitely.
Ooh, so our next survivor picks are going to be Cheerleader and Weeping Clown. A first officer was unfortunately taken off the table, but it seems like GNC is not going to be opting for a designated rescuer for this team composition.
Interesting choice, but honestly, the kiters they have 3 super solid kiters, and with that recent Lawyer buff, it's going to be very hard to catch up with these survivors.
Agreed. And if we have the support of either Cheerleader or Weeping Clown, it could really make to extend a kite.
Definitely, and with that cooldown reset on Cheerleader, that Perfumer is going to be kiting for a long time.
Oh, agreed. Especially if she ends up with the first kite. We've been lucky enough to see Lawyers not take the first kite. So I'm curious to see what builds they're going to end up with. But I just distinctly remember I had a Leo's memory match yesterday with a Weeping Clown. And I was about to get basemented, but he saved me with a rocket just before the hunter dropped down. And I'm anticipating some really fun rocket plays. I didn't really expect it at all, but I'm always amazed with what Weeping Clown players are able to pull off when they're able to land their rockets. So
Definitely.
here's to hoping that we see a lot of that.
And as soon as they finish locking in their survivor builds, we should be getting our hunter here soon.
That's right. I'm hoping that we end up with another hunter that we haven't seen so far. It's been really fun to not see our standard. Oh, we are going to be seeing an opera singer.
Definitely a very standard counter to this team, being able to catch up with that Cheerleader and Weeping Clown. And that Perfumer. It's going to be very, very hard for the survivors, but they have a lot of utility they can use to play against this. Opera singer.
Agreed. And despite the large size of Leo's memory, it's a pretty good opera singer map in terms of making that distance. Not just to catch up with these survivors who can make a lot of it, but just in general. We have like a lot of spaced out ciphers and whatnot that they're really gonna have to stay on top of things.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what builds that we are going to end up with. Bones mentioned it in the chat. This is the bans are quite rescuer phobic, so I'm curious to see who is going to end up being our tidebringer, if at all.
My bet is going to be on maybe the Weeping Clown.
Hmm.
And honestly, I've seen a couple Lawyer Tide builds, honestly.
Yeah, same here. I have been seeing a lot of cheerleaders bring Tide in the Koa group stage. I know that recently wrapped up, but that's always an option. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't end up bringing Tide, considering GNC does have a lead in points here. It's no wonder that we're going to be seeing an opera singer pick to maximize the potential of our hunter here and try and reap the best results to catch up.
Definitely.
Oh, so it does look like we're going to be bringing a double Tide, and this Perfumer is not going to be bringing Borrowed Time. We're going to go for a Tide Turner Broken Windows build instead.
Looks like that Weeping Clown's going to be spawning in Shack. Lawyer in mid.
Interesting.
Ooh. They're guessing heavily that they're gonna rely heavily on this opera singer. Oh, and it paid off.
Yeah, it definitely paid off. Oh my goodness. It would have been a nightmare to see that opera singer complete a plus formation, but this toll formation definitely worked out, and it does seem like we're going to have either Weeping Clown or Perfumer as our neighbors in terms of this opera singer
Definitely. I
spawn
think that
selection.
Perfumer is definitely most likely going to be our first chase here, if the opera doesn't go for lawyer.
And despite the tide, it's a good thing that she's going to be bringing broken windows. Hopefully she'll be able to utilize it. So we are moving into the first half of round 3 with our GNC survivors up against our C3 Hunter. Good luck to both teams.
Ooh, heading immediately towards that Weeping Clown.
Alright, and it does look like Weeping Clown is going to hang out in this shack area. We're going to drop the pallet, and Opera Singer is going to opt to break it while we transition over to the Moongate Ruins.
Definitely a good map for Opera Singer, being with how many shadows, like how many objects there are. The amount of trees. Definitely.
We are going to see Weeping Clown utilize the rocket to transition over towards the Moon Gate. We are going to go to the corner of the factory over here. Oh, and it does seem that Cheerleader utilized the Inspire to reset the cooldown for this Weeping Clown.
Definitely, again, that Cheerleader being huge, such a huge support for characters like Weeping Clown and Perfumer on this team.
And it looks like it paid off because we're going to see Weeping Clown utilize another one of the rockets to transition away from that area. Honestly, good on the Weeping Clown for keeping this opera singer on their toes. We're not going to see a hit through the pallet right here, but we are going to see Weeping Clown get hit through the pallet now. That was a little bit of a mind game, but it is a pretty strong start. We're going back and forth in this area, especially after utilizing the pallets.
Looks like that third rocket is coming out, but we do have Blink ready on the Opera Singer's side.
And we, considering that a lot of these pallets were used. Oh!
The Blink
That rocket
misses, unfortunately, because that
yes, that rocket definitely paid off. And we did see a little bit of a cheer for this Weeping Clown, but I'm really impressed. We aren't going to be seeing them go down quite yet. And Cheerleader is still in the area. Are we going to get a hit here? No, we're going to use a Motivate to make some distance on this opera singer.
Ooh, going back to get the Weeping Clown off guard. Unfortunately, this is just a really strong looping area, and those shadows just don't work out right for the Hunter here.
Agreed. Now we're going to see Weeping Clown move over to the logs area where Perfumer is close by. We're going to see a little bit of... Oh, we're going to have Perfumer support the kite here. We're going to see a Perfume, but Opera Singer is very committed to this Weeping Clown, who is going to go down at the logs here.
Thankfully, that was a very long kite, and they managed to get basically almost 3 ciphers done, I believe. Yeah, the Cheerleader's finishing up her cipher right about now. We know that Perfumer is nearby, might be going in for the rescue.
Oh my goodness!
Oh no, not the lag again.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate to see. You could definitely tell something was up, especially because she's still crouching right there and crawling. Although it is a little bit difficult when you get pincered or you're just up against something. I find that it's a really prime moment to end up with the cannot use item now when it comes to perfumes. We're gonna opt to pause just to make sure that everything can continue to go smoother. But yeah, so I'm curious to see what they'll end up doing in regards to this situation. It still was a pretty solid kite, but Perfumer and Weeping Clown are the Tidebringers. We still have the Cheerleader close by who could help out in terms of rescue, but
Alright, we're back in the match. Oh, but misses the oh!
Incredible mind game right there with that Perfume. Oh, but we are going to see a shadow switch, and we're not going to get the hit through.
Oh, gets the rescue on Weeping Clown while Cheerleader made her way over to Weeping Clown's chair. Perfumer. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
Weeping Clown is in quite a bad area.
We don't have Blink quite online yet, but we are gonna see the
This is
shadow.
the hit.
Oh my goodness. Really great hit. Oh, that speed boost is going to
Ooh.
help out, but unfortunately Weeping Clown is going to get hit through the pallet right here.
Confidently pushes through that pallet. It seems Perfumer is decoding the last cipher. Just started it.
Yeah, good to keep her out of the area considering she is not carrying borrowed time. But we are going to be having Cheerleader move in. It's a little tough because we do have that wanted order, but she's doing a really great job of keeping her distance. We are having the Lawyer move in. Oh, and it appears that Lawyer is doing the switcheroo with the map and the rugby ball. We're going to do a little bit of a passover over here since we don't have an item.
Trying to get the rugby ball. Ooh. And he managed to grab the rugby ball. That's going to be huge for pulling distance, especially with that Perfumer working on the last cipher.
Oh my goodness. This is a huge little spaghetti of all of our Survivor, but yeah, we're able to get the Lawyer hit right here. And Lawyer is going to go down.
Blink is up, however, and we...
Oh my gosh, I don't know if we're going to utilize the Blink right here because of the...
And Clown might go in for the rescue here because he does have borrowed time.
Oh, watch out for the... Oh my goodness, okay.
Has to take the long way around to avoid that pallet stun.
That would have been detrimental. We're going to have a little bit more of cheering over here with the Weeping Clown and Cheerleader.
However, can't have to have... Ooh,
oh,
yes,
we're going to use that rugby ball to get to the chair.
Gets a little dizzy here. Managed to get the rescue. Misses the Cheerleader.
Oh, okay, so it does seem like Weeping Clown is out of range for enough stacks to pick up, but of course this last cipher is going to be primed. We're going to commit to the Lawyer over here, and...
Ooh, unfortunate hit, but we do see the cipher pop.
Luckily for Lawyer, he isn't able to get Terror Shock, so he's still going to be up here, despite getting hit while vaulting. But Opera Singer is going to commit to go to the Moon Gate, where Perfumer is currently decoding.
Oh, barely missed that Perfumer the first time, but managed to go back over. Are we gonna...
Oh no!
Oh, no.
A really unfortunate shadow over here. We've moved too far back.
Unfortunate here. Perfumer gets down, but they're already working on the gate at the other side of the map. Just gonna leave that Perfumer down.
We're gonna see switch over from Blink to Teleport, and Lawyer does have quite a bit of stacks. We're going to cheer for him a little bit more. We're still gonna commit to this Lawyer, but he will be able to pick himself up due to the cheering right here. Oh, we're gonna commit to the Cheerleader now because we know that Lawyer...
Being able to run away.
She does utilize both motivates to switch back, but now we're gonna go to the Lawyer, who is going to try and decode the gate here, and he has lost his stack.
Good thinking on C3's part, getting that Cheerleader away from the Lawyer so she doesn't have stack. Ooh, gets the hit on the Lawyer. However, Perfumer does get back up.
That's right, and we did have a little bit of progress left on that gate. We're gonna be healing up the Perfumer? No, they're gonna leave and take the three-man escape. Yeah, congratulations to GNC for the 3-man escape. Well done on C3's end. That was a really, really intense matchup.
All right. And with those point discrepancies, we are unfortunately not going to be moving on to second half. So good job to both C3 and GNC again. Both of you did really well. So we're just gonna be moving on to the next matches.
Congratulations to both teams. We are going to be seeing GNC proceed in this tournament, but really great job to C3, or let me address them by their full names. Thank you so much to Kaka Colony for a formidable fight. It was so amazing to see both teams go ahead against each other. And of course, congratulations to Goodnight Call for doing a really stellar job. I think both teams did really amazing, and I'm excited to see more of both in the future.
All right, we are going to be heading to intermission. I'm going to be heading out after this one, so thank you guys for having me. I was so happy to be here. We're gonna be on intermission now, so goodbye.